Don't you think? All right.
No, yeah.
I mean, probably they were after the cash.
You would think?
Yeah. But to him, the real crime is that they stole the pizza.
But did they, Chris?
I don't know.
The Rees Company.
By the way, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm.
All right. People who really want to have a good time won't come to a slaughterhouse. And we've got entirely too many troublemakers here. Too many 40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry. It's going to change. Be nice.
That ain't working.
I want you to be nice.
That ain't working.
And you'll both be nice.
So much as my wife was a giant. But
I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.
no, I'm pretty sure that's the way you do it.
The Rees Company.
Up in a tepid Genesee, watch the pictures as they travel through your neighbor's Wi-Fi. It's the Rees Company. I'm Steve Rees, the bull of American broadcasting, alongside the great Chris Morganti. How are you, Chris?
Good.
Fantastic. Well, hey, look, it's Casual Friday. And in no way did I simply just forget my jacket.
Oh,
that's what really happened. But I'm calling it Casual Friday. This week, in our movie of the week, Hal Holbrook finds himself the focus of a devious murder plot.
Yeah, there was a lot of twists and turns in this one.
I'll say. In fact, so much so that we usually show most of the movie. I mean, not as far as the length, but all the key scenes. Mm-hmm. We're not going to show that much of the movie.
Yeah, it would just confuse people probably.
And also, it would. I think this is one we're both going to recommend, and I think people would be better served by just watching the movie themselves.
True.
But we'll give you all you need to know and all you might want to know about it first. First, let's check in with Pittsburgh's forgotten son, Ralph Williams. By the way, Chris, we hit 65 subscribers last week.
Well, that's good news.
And we're holding steady.
And we're still behind him.
Yeah, he's up to 79.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what else to do, Chris. He put out a call. We put out a call.
Yeah.
But people respond when he calls.
Apparently.
So he's gaining followers and widening his lead, and we just can't have this. So if you enjoy what we do, tell your friends because, all of ours are, never mind. So not much to report on the Ralph Williams front this week. There is a clip worth sharing of the TV version of The Way I See It on PC TV. He's talking about a recent local crime, and Ralph just can't help put his own spin on the details.
Oh, great.
All right. And, of course, there's been a lot of robberies. There was just one recently in Elliott, okay, of a pizza delivery driver, and they stuffed him in his trunk, stole his pizza. How about that one in Manchester?
Stole his pizza.
Ago? Right? In Manchester.
Now, don't you think? All right.
No, yeah.
I mean, probably they were after the cash.
You would think?
Yeah. But to him, the real crime is that they stole the pizza.
But did they, Chris?
I don't know.
Because I have an article here from WTAE. Can you just read the first two paragraphs?
All right. Pittsburgh police are investigating a reported robbery of a pizza delivery driver who told police he was forced into the trunk of his own car and driven an unknown distance before being left in the back of the vehicle. The driver told police he stopped his vehicle around 9:30 p.m. Tuesday when three armed men approached him and stole money, his car keys, wallet, cell phone, and shoes.
No mention of pizza.
5 things that they stole, none of them pizza. But to Ralph, that was the real crime.
Yes. He naturally assumes that free pizza is the only reason to rob a pizza delivery guy. What else could they be after, Chris? What's more valuable than pizza?
Oh, man.
Yeah?
Can we go back to seeing him? Is that possible, Jim? Because I'd like to point something out.
Okay. We had this is from the TV edition of The Way I See It, the Pittsburgh Community Television version. It's much better produced than his home-produced version of the way I see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
He does that from either one of two studios. Studio 808, I believe he lives in apartment 808.
Right.
And Studio B. Now, the difference between Studio 808 and Studio B is Studio 808 is his living room. Studio B is his bedroom.
Yeah, the bedroom with the open closet door.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yes, that's Studio B.
Now,
So,
we're seeing Ralph Williams right now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is he wearing a crucifix as a bolo tie? Is that what he's got going on?
No. It's on a necklace. It's on a chain of some sort.
Okay, but he's wearing it kind of like a tie, like he's got his top button done, right? Or is his neck that fat?
No,
I don't know what's going on.
He has his top button done for other reasons, I take it.
Okay. Like to hold his fourth chin back? Is that what's going on?
Possibly.
Okay. All right. Well, enough of him.
That
was good. That was a good spot, Steve.
Man, the insistence that he stole the pizza reminds me of his rant against vegans, where he said, "Okay, maybe you don't eat steaks if you're a vegan. Maybe you cook chicken or turkey burgers or something that's filling for somebody who's a vegan." He just can't fathom someone not wanting to eat animal products.
Yeah.
Just as he can't imagine someone holding up a pizza guy for anything other than pizza. So are we ready over there for the movie of the week intro? Murder by Natural Causes. It aired on February 17th, 1979 on the Columbia Broadcasting System. Hal Holbrook, he's the star. He's known for many roles. He made his breakthrough performance in All the President's Men, playing the role of Mark Felt, though very few people knew that at the time. It also stars Katherine Ross. She's perhaps best known for playing Elaine Robinson in The Graduate.
Right.
And that's a movie that people of a certain age and class will tell you is a comedy, because a guy pulls Dustin Hoffman aside and tells him he should go in the plastics.
Yeah, not a lot of jokes in that.
No.
Yeah.
Cracking soundtrack, though. And the other key player is Barry Bostwick, known for many things. You know him from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Spin City, and plenty in between, and I'm not sure much afterward. And it was written by the creators of Columbo. So Hal Holbrook, he plays a mentalist. Now, in some parts of the English-speaking world, that means a deranged person.
Okay.
And it's also true in America. But it also denotes a magician who performs as a mind reader. So here we see Hal. He's about to appear on a talk show, and he receives a call from his wife, Katherine Ross.
On the line. Arthur?
Allison,
Just wanted to call to say I miss you. Is that worth running up the phone bill?
absolutely. I'm glad you called.
How do you feel?
Reasonably vertical.
I'm serious.
No problem. The usual adrenaline. Oh, and I ran a check on the gadget. It's ticking nicely.
Good. Keep it that way. I'll pick you up tomorrow at the airport. Excuse me. Coming up.
Right. I have to go. Love you.
Me too. Good luck on the show. How was I?
Not bad.
You approve?
Wah, wah.
Yeah. There was a reference in that conversation to Hal's heart condition.
Yeah, well, he said, I checked on the gadget and it's ticking, which would make you think he has planted a time bomb somewhere. But,
It is misleading if you didn't know the context.
right.
But right before that, we see him running his pacemaker through the phone system.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was a thing.
Yeah,
at one
that's how you used to have to do it. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
And they would,
It would tell you if your heart was in good shape or not. It would it would test through the phone line.
over a landline.
Yes.
Wow, that's something.
So Barry Bostwick, we saw him. He was in bed with Hal's wife. He's a stage and commercial actor.
His character is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he also is in real life.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. So Barry goes downstairs after all this to make some drinks, and Katherine joins him a few minutes later.
Allison. Allison.
One more for good measure.
What the hell are you doing?
Did you make me that drink? Gil, how many times do I have to tell you no ice? Cheers. It's empty. I only loaded 2 blanks.
What are you trying to prove?
Is the phone ringing? Is there anyone knocking at the door?
No.
Then I've made my point. The sound doesn't carry beyond this house.
Well, how do you know the neighbors aren't calling the police?
Because I've tried it before. How's your heart?
It's pounding.
Exactly.
It only just occurred to me that we should have had an Alec Baldwin joke here.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, when we prepared this show, he was not being charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Right.
So the pair have a plan to induce a heart attack in Hal. Katherine stands to inherit more from Hal in the event of his death than following a divorce settlement. So Hal returns home, and shortly after, he and Katherine, they're entertaining a small gathering. While in a side room, he meets with his attorney, Gregory, played by the $6 million man's boss. Hal signs a contract for a purported book deal, though he admits the language is incomprehensible to him. So after the signing, he and Gregory, the attorney, they discuss the business of mentalism. But first, Hal offers Gregory a drink. Ignorance everywhere, Chris.
Yeah, it's ignorant. Yeah.
Gregory challenges Hal to read his mind and guess what beverage he'd prefer.
All right. You usually drink brandy, but I get the impression of scotch on the rocks. Are you amazed?
Not really. Especially since we had dinner last week, and I told you that I'd switched to scotch.
George, I'm hurt. Are you telling me you doubt my powers?
I don't doubt your earning powers. Allison tells me that your book's solid with concerts, private parties.
It's called synergy. The concerts feed the books feed the television appearances.
Why now, Arthur? After all these years, you've never been that,
Marketable. Interesting, isn't it? The age of the cordless electric peppermill, and people still want miracles.
Ah, so that's what you're in. The miracle business.
No, I dress it up with a lot of fancy words like telepathy, precognition, ESP. But it's still the same old shell game. Everyone suspects I'm a fraud, of course, but they're not quite sure. That's what fascinates them. The thought that I just might be legitimate.
That must put you under a lot of pressure.
Some. None that I can't handle.
How are you feeling?
George, I appreciate the concern, but you're getting as bad as Allison. My coronary was 2 years ago. That's ancient history. I have a very expensive little box in my chest that doesn't miss a beat. I jog, I make love, and I can still swamp you at tennis. Okay?
Yeah, so we learn, which should be obvious to everyone, it's not just a good memory that Hal uses to read minds. Here he meets with his private investigator, and this is the only scene in which this character appears. This guy also looks familiar. I didn't catch his name in the credits, but I think the guy who plays the PI, he's been in 1,000 things.
Really?
Very familiar face. Maybe a lot of commercials. I'm not quite sure. There we go.
I've got fact sheets and breakdowns on most of the guests, along with their birth dates if you need them. Plus a couple of license plate numbers, makes of cars, home addresses, you know, the usual. Plus some specifics you might want to use. Like there's this Mrs. Carrington. She's having a gazebo built in back of her house. The contractor's name is Schofield.
All right, go on.
Now here's a goodie. The lady's name is Stark, and she's got this mutt. What do you call him? Lassa
Opso.
Right, close. Though. Thank you. Anyway, his name is Toby, and she took him to the vet last week. It seems he's got an allergy.
Oh.
You could have a lot of fun with that, huh?
What's he allergic to?
I don't know.
Oh, Eddie, get it for me. Oh, it's too good to miss.
He has an allergy. You can have a lot of fun with that.
Sure.
That's like, when people tell comics, hey, this one guy in the audience, he likes to wear hats. I'll bet he can do 2 hours on that alone. Tipping you off. He's a hat collector.
You know, do you remember a guy named John Edwards who used to have a TV show where he would...
Crossing Over.
Crossing Over, yeah, and he would do this same sort of shtick. I was reading how the people in the audience, like, they would have to wait around for like 2 or 3 hours before the show would start, you know? And the production assistants would go through and give them like cards that are like, who do you hope to talk to tonight? You know, like, who would you be hoping to reach? Like, and then they would collect these cards, and then the people would be sitting there for like another 2 hours, and it never occurred to them,
Right.
the people in the audience, gee, I wonder why they wanted to know who I want to talk to John Edwards about. And then when he comes out and says, your Aunt Clarice has a message for you, they're surprised.
And that's what this guy's gimmick is. But he also has this private investigator he uses to.
Yeah, well, I mean, John Edwards had the same thing. You know, he would have people like they would have him waiting in line to get into the studio, and he'd have people out there just like, you know, recording conversations and stuff.
How is that not fraud? I guess he's not charging them money, the people in the studio audience, but he did make a lot of money.
No, he did do shows where he charged admission, but I think if you just say, hey, this is for entertainment only, I mean, it's on the people if they're that stupid to not get that you're not real, you know?
That's a shame.
Yeah.
So let's check in on that performance we saw Hal prepping with the PI.
I went by your house last night. Relax, nobody
I'm
saw
sorry.
me.
Pause, Jim. I jumped the gun over here.
Oh.
Catherine meets Barry for coffee. He's getting cold feet about giving Hal the cold everything.
So the plan here, Steve, is that they're going to scare him and his bad heart to death.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have a good look at him.
And?
I can do a lot of things, but I'm not sure that I can kill somebody.
You already have.
What the hell are you talking about?
The play. Didn't you tell me your character murders his wife?
That's a performance, Allison. Don't you?
That's all I'm asking for is a performance.
All right, so now we jump ahead, and we see the performance that Hal was prepping with his private investigator. The lasso apso and the guy's allergic to that. You can get a lot of mileage out of that.
Sure. Yeah,
Jeez. Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Yes, perhaps we shouldn't continue. No, wait. You have been spending a great deal of time with him, but I sense it's perfectly innocent. His name starts with an S. Schofield?
Yes. He's my...
Your contractor.
That's right.
Yes. As a matter of fact, he's building something in your yard. A pool? No. It's some kind of wooden structure. Would it be a gazebo?
Yes.
Yeah, now, Chris, I've always pronounced that word another way.
Gazebo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I stand corrected. So next we say Barry. His play just received a bad review. It's not the career boost Hay had hoped for, making him desperate. Let's check out this scene.
I don't think I'm following you.
Oh, come on. Come on. You're following me very well. You know why you came here today. You wanted to know whether I'd changed my mind.
That's not...
Yes, it is. It's all right. Because I have. Why not? No more delusions. You see, it makes for a great third act. The guy not only gets the girl, but he also gets rich.
Yeah, so Barry's back in on the murder plot. He and Katherine finalize their plan, and before long, it's the big night. Barry shows up at Hal's house, posing as a San Diego news reporter, there to interview Hal in the run-up to an upcoming performance down there. Let's take a look at some of the subterfuge.
Well, all right, now that you're here, I can give you half an hour. How do you want to do this?
No special way. Maybe I'll just ask you a few questions. I'm sure that people are very interested to find out how you first discovered these powers of yours. Now, you were originally a nightclub magician, am I right?
Yes, in my distant youth, I had a mind-reading act with
I just want to point out that he came posed as a reporter with no notebook and no pen.
Yeah.
And said, I have a good memory.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a professional actor.
An actor prepares,
Yeah.
as they say.
Yeah.
Not this one.
young lady.
What did you have, some kind of code?
trade secret. No, anyway, one night I was reading the paper after the show. There were a series of stranglings in St. Louis. For some strange reason, I envisioned a left-handed man, someone who worked with animals. It was a very powerful mental image. Well, I called the St. Louis police and told them about it. They thought it was a publicity stunt. And 4 weeks later, they found the strangler.
Left-handed.
Left-handed. He was a maintenance man at the zoo.
That's unbelievable. I bet you were surprised.
Anyway, that was the beginning. My boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So while this is going on, Katherine makes an urgent visit to see Gregory. Now he's Hal's lawyer,
Right.
Steve Austin's boss.
The guy who wanted a drink.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see what they have to say to each other.
Please tell him it's urgent.
Allison, what a pleasant surprise. Come in.
I'm sorry to bother you, George, but it's an emergency.
An emergency? Is it about Arthur?
It's both of us. Maybe I'm being foolish.
Well, I want to hear all about it, but let's get you a drink first. What would you like?
Just coffee, please, Black.
Mrs. Matthews, would you please serve us some coffee in the living room?
Yes, sir.
This way.
How was I?
Perfect. Although Mrs. Matthews is easy to convince, she tends to trust people.
How nice for us.
So either she's a giant whore or there's some other level of subterfuge going on here.
Yeah, there is. And that's twist number one.
Yeah.
Katherine and Gregory, they wait patiently while Barry, the fake reporter, the stooge we now know, he continues his faux interview with Hal. He's really into this role.
I mean, now, it's one thing to read minds from a stage or from a television show. You can always hire somebody to check out the audience, right? But, find out their names, their backgrounds, what they had for breakfast. Strangler thing. It's almost too good to be true.
Well, happily, it's documented. It made all the papers.
Yeah, for sure. Trouble is, most of the reporters didn't verify their story. So when I got this assignment, I called the St. Louis Police Department. Funny thing is, they don't remember you being involved.
You must have talked to the wrong person.
Yeah, probably. Although the guy did say he was the head of the investigation.
How much longer is this interview?
Now, at this point, and it's been a pretty good interview. At this point, how is Barry now thinking, wait a second, I might have a pretty good career going here if I use these skills. Avoid the chance of prison.
Yeah.
You know, this guy gets to live.
Yeah.
Mike Wallace started out as an actor.
And the wife would still get half the money by divorcing this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But she wants the insurance.
She
It's
wants the insurance.
substantially more.
And all the money.
Yes. Well, soon conversation turns to Hal's health. He's confident in his pacemaker's ability to keep him alive. I'm sure Barry couldn't believe his luck when Hal decided to demonstrate his strength.
Yeah, this is weird.
Yes.
Hold this.
Jack Palance at the Oscars.
But can we pause it? You're probably tempted to think this is a short scene. It's not. I don't know how much of this you plan on us watching, Steve, but he does like 30 push-ups, all of them on camera.
We have more than another minute of this.
Okay.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Satisfied?
Yeah, that's great. Maybe you should stop now, sir. That's plenty. Now, you don't want to hurt yourself.
I haven't even started. How many is that?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been counting.
How many do you do?
50. 60, but I'm in good condition, sir.
So am I.
Sounds like it.
You still think I'm ready for a wheelchair?
Now I'm wondering if he really did those push-ups or if they used a stunt double wearing a wig, because I don't know that his hair looked the same from behind as I don't know.
That's possible.
Yeah.
'Cause
that's not easy. Like, you figure how many, they're not gonna get this on one take, so you probably could crank out however many push-ups he cranked out there, but then to do it again a couple minutes later, like,
Right.
you're gonna start to get really tired really quick. You know, he's not a young guy.
No.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, he does catch his breath, and he's fine once he does. So they go back inside, and Hal shows Barry a card trick, after which Barry displays his own talent for mentalism.
What about my wife?
Concentrate. Her name's Allison. She's very attractive. And you met her when she was working in an art gallery.
Not impressed. You could have read that anywhere.
Maybe. Where would I have read that she has a birthmark on her lower back?
How did you find that out?
Are you sure you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Because I saw it.
That's a lie.
When I was making love to her on that gray and white quilt in your bedroom. With that Louis XV chair.
Who are you?
I told you I'm your wife's lover.
That's not true.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm a wonderful lover. Much better than you, according to Allison.
Yeah, ask Dr. Frankenstein from Rocky Horror. Isn't that Victor what the hell was the guy's name?
Frankenfurter?
Tim Curry's character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this revelation also fails to trigger a heart attack.
Yeah.
By this time, Katherine and Gregory, the lawyer, they're sitting in a car outside the house, awaiting the sound of a gunshot. Remember, they're going to fire a blank to stun his heart into seizure.
Right.
So let's continue. Let's take a look at what we're
Now.
Arthur, what happened?
Tried to kill me.
Oh, my God.
You know him, don't you?
Yes.
He said the two of you were lovers.
Arthur, I haven't seen him for months.
You're lying. You wanted him to murder me.
What?
You left the door unlocked. You brought the gun downstairs.
I don't know what you're talking about. All right, we were lovers, but I told him I never wanted to see him again.
That's a weird response. I haven't seen him in months.
Yeah, that's not going to cushion the blow much.
Yeah, it doesn't. It also doesn't negate the allegation.
Right.
It's a very bizarre thing to say in that situation. So now Hal, as you just saw, he's holding his chest. So Katherine, she says she'll go upstairs and fetch his medication.
Now, I forget what happened here. He was supposed to have been shot, right?
I think let me see, we're going to...
Because if I remember, that dude gets up and walks away at some point, right?
Yes, and I believe that was meant to provide the fatal blow when he thinks he killed a guy.
Oh, now I remember. Okay, yeah. Man, there's a lot of twists and turns.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at a little more here. He goes to get a drink of water. So there's yet another twist. So we learned that was the plan all along, to make Hal think he had killed Barry. He had killed Barry, and then have Barry reappear and be very much alive, inducing fatal cardiac arrest. It reminded me of another film we watched not too long ago called Reflections of Murder.
Yeah.
And that aired 5 years prior to this one. That starred Sam Waterston. It was based on an older French film called Diabolique, itself based on a novel. The murder plot here is almost identical, shocking someone with a heart condition into death by showing that someone she thinks she killed is still alive.
Right. Yeah, it occurred to me, though, that if he was supposed to think that he'd actually shot that guy, you don't think you'd be expecting some blood to be somewhere, anywhere? Like he was laying on a freaking Persian rug.
There was no blood, and also, wouldn't you think, okay, well, it's a relief that I didn't kill this guy.
Yeah. I think they were looking for like multiple levels of things that might cause cardiac arrest, and they kept up in the game. but the real plot here, of course, is not between the dude from Rocky Horror, the fake reporter, and Mrs. Robinson's daughter. The real plot is between Mrs. Robinson's daughter and the lawyer who wants a drink.
Yes.
Yeah. Did I ruin the next scene?
No, you didn't. In fact, we're not going to see any more scenes, and the reason why is because many more twists come.
Yeah.
There's, I think, 20 minutes left of this film, and I don't think there's a 5-minute period within that when the movie takes the same course.
Well, I mean, so I don't want to spoil the ending then, Steve, of course, but I will say this. We've established that there's this plot between the lawyer and the wife, right? So they want the actor to take the fall for the murder of the husband is their plan. Now, if you had a victim in mind, Steve, would you go after a guy who hires a private investigator full time as part of his staff, who has security, surveillance, and recording equipment all over his house, which is established at many points in the film, and a guy who deceives people for a living? It's literally all he does. Now, so, folks, who do you think's going to come out ahead in this little game of cat and mouse we have going on?
But it's the journey to that point when we find out all this. And really, you can't give away the ending because there isn't really one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But it's still a very entertaining thing to watch. I mentioned Reflections of Murder, which this film reminded me of. The plot of these two movies diverge right after the scene we watched a moment ago.
Yeah.
He does not die in shock at the sight of a living, breathing Barry Bostwick. More twists occur. And because we're both going to recommend it, I'm going to say this again. I think you should just go watch this movie. It's Murder by Natural Causes, and it's available on YouTube. We'll link it in the description. Speaking of how it ends, did you have a theory? And obviously, the people who haven't seen this film aren't going to know what the next moment is about. But do you have a theory about what actually might happen after the final scene?
No, I didn't, because I kind of like films that end ambiguously and you don't know what happened. I don't think it's necessary to speculate on what happened next, because it could have gone off in one direction or another. I don't need a film to tell me what happened.
I thought maybe there was a clue in there that I might have missed that you may have picked up on.
That's entirely possible. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it did end the way it ended.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to say before we rate it?
No.
Okay. Do you want to rate it, or shall I?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to go with 4 out of 5. Meredith Baxter's.
Okay.
I would have rated it higher, but I had to take away a Baxter for the derivative plot points. But I do like the creative spin they put on those elements, and the performances were effective.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4 out of 5 as well. It's worth watching. It's good. The actors are good. It's all people you've heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's not top class. There's better films in this genre. So I don't think we can go all the way to a 5. But
Yeah, and as far as these movies go, this is certainly one of the best we've watched.
Yeah, you mean our type of movies?
Yes.
Yeah, the movies of the week.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to get into this, Chris?
Well, Speaking of people who make up stories that could have been easily collaborated had someone made a phone call, but no one did. As we saw in the film, we have this guy who's currently a member of Congress named George Santos.
Yes. Now, I've seen this man's name a lot lately, and I had no idea why.
Well, it's because he's been elected to Congress, but more than that, after he was elected, they started finding out that basically nothing he said was true. And, like, we're not talking about small embellishments either. I've heard an article that was printed in Vanity Fair recently, and they're outlining some of his lies. He said that his grandparents fled the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Which you might think, really? Santos? And his reasoning behind that was, well, a lot of people had to change their names after the, whatever. But it turns out he's not Jewish.
No,
he had
wasn't he born in Brazil or something?
Yeah.
Which makes me think it's possibly true that his grandparents fled the Holocaust, but they were more fleeing the scene.
Yeah, they were getting out of Dodge, so to speak. So he lied both about being Jewish and his relatives being involved in the Holocaust. And when they called him on it, he said, no, I didn't say I was Jewish. I said I was Jew'-ish. Which, frankly, I got to give him some credit for that one. That's not bad. He said that his mother died in 9/11. And when they found out that his mother had actually died in... I don't know, like 2016 or something like that. He said, no, she died as a result of 9/11. And, well, that's all nonsense, obviously. He claimed to be a volleyball star at some place I've never heard of called Baruch College.
Yeah, apparently that's a real place because the college itself said, no, he never attended here.
He did not attend there, yeah. So,
never mind the volleyball scholarship he supposedly received. He didn't attend the college at all.
He was never there.
No.
Yeah. So when he says that he slayed Yale and Harvard, we don't know what that means because he didn't play in those games. There's a Ponzi scheme listed on here. I mean, that's no surprise. A guy like this is going to get involved in a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. Are you thinking personality disorder? Pathological liar?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
Because there's no reason to lie about any of these things. You're running for office, just state your platform. Let people know what you believe in and let them decide. You don't need to have played volleyball at a college that nobody's heard of.
Yeah. He said that 4 of his employees were lost in the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando in 2016. That's a pure fabrication. That never happened. This one is probably the saddest of them all. He bilked a homeless veteran out of money raised to save his dying dog.
Yes.
I mean, that's almost like cartoon movie character villainish.
Like, yeah, what do you call it? The handlebar mustache.
Yeah. You think he'll save your dog, eh? Like he started.
Did he take the money and tie the dog to railroad tracks?
Well, he might as well have because the dog died shortly thereafter. And he stole $3,000 from a crowdfunding thing that he set up to help this guy get his dog surgery. I mean, that's just, I can't even. All right. Now,
there is one that's under the header, allegedly stolen scarves.
Yeah, this is the one I really wanted to get to. This involves his roommate, right? How come I get find it, Steve? Yeah, okay. So, ex-roommates of Santos who know him as Anthony DeVolder. George Santos isn't even his real name. Or
no, DeVolder is his middle name.
Okay.
Santos is his surname, but he went by his first and
he went by an alias, let's be honest. His roommates say he stole numerous items from them, including a Burberry scarf that he then wore to a Stop the Steal rally where he claimed his unsuccessful 2020 bid for office had been stolen from him, just as the 2020 presidential election had been stolen from Donald Trump. Now, of course, as with most of these claims, Steve, they have no evidence that the election was stolen.
Right, I agree.
Right. But The scarf, I mean, we only have his roommate's word to take that he stole the scarf, of course. But here's the real thing, the real issue for me. This says that this was his roommate in 2019. This guy was running for office in 2022. Don't you want your Congress people to at least have their own place? I mean, he lied about working on Wall Street, right? That's another lie I don't think we mentioned. He never worked at any of the Wall Street firms that he claimed. I mean, don't you think a guy running for Congress should have a little bit of enough to have your own place, man? I'm sorry.
Well, not only that, he shouldn't have to make these things up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want a guy who's going to miss a congressional vote because his car got repossessed. And this is no slight to anyone who has non-romantic, non-family member roommates. But I don't think you should be running for Congress. I'm sorry. I'm taking a stand here. You're not what I'm looking for in a representative. If you can't make a rent check on your own. I'm not going to trust you with our nation's budget.
Oh, man. Anything else here you'd like to discuss?
I mean, sort of, but I don't know if I should. Are we at the end of the show?
Well, no, we just have plugs.
Let's do Darren's plug in case we need to cut this next segment.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, for years, Chris, you and I were part of a show called the Passive Aggressive Hour.
Yes.
And on that show, there were several other folks. One of them was a friend of ours named Darren Martinez.
Yes.
And he's put out a collection of. You want to tell the folks the name?
Well, the collection is called Moosedumps.
Yes, there are 2 volumes. Volume 3 is coming soon. And if you're a fan of Goosebumps, the R.L. Stine young adult horror series from, I guess, the 80s and 90s, this is a parody. It's suitable for, I'd say it's PG-13.
Yeah.
And these are fantastic. You can get them at thenameofthebook.com. And I will, please remind me to get a link in the description.
Oh, this is volume 1.
Yes.
But he has volume 2 out.
Volume 3 is on its way. And there's another book called Giraptors.
Oh, yeah.
Which he co-wrote. It was based on a screenplay. Kind of like one of those sci-fi movies like Sharknado.
Oh, nice.
But this is, instead of half shark, half tornado, it's half giraffe, half raptor.
Nice. Well, speaking of bad TV that you might end up watching, I'd been feeling under the weather last week, which is why we didn't have a show a week ago. Jim was nice enough to cut up a whole bunch of short clips for everyone to watch while we couldn't do a new show. So thank you very much to him for doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
But so I'm stuck in my place watching TV for a long period of time. So looking for something to watch, I stumbled on this show called Victorian Farm. You familiar with this at all?
I'm not.
Well, these 3 British historians, they go and live in these farms and they live like, you know, how they lived in that time period. So you got your Victorian farm, you got your Georgian, I guess the time of King James, right? Like early 1600s. And then he did one that was set in like the monasteries right before King Henry VIII abolished the monasteries. But they live and they farm according to the time, the methods of those times, right? You understand the concept of this? Yeah. I found this to be very entertaining to the point where I'm like 15 straight hours into this, just, you know, in bed laying there watching this. And then all of a sudden, an ad pops up. You know, periodically there's ads popping up. It's YouTube. And it's for a gay streaming service. I didn't know that existed. But apparently, I don't know. What are they trying to say there? I don't know.
Oh, you think they're questioning your...
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Well, maybe there's a large gay audience for that kind of programming, so they make an assumption that's
what you
reasonable.
That's what you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know why. I mean, it's mostly, you would think history buffs, not, I don't know. But I have an alternate theory. During this show, they keep using a word for the kindling that they're using to light their fires. A word that starts with F. and is not used much in polite society anymore. But apparently, in the British historical crowd, they still light their fires with little bundles of sticks that they call a certain.
Now, is it possible that they got for this show people who just wanted an excuse to say that? I mean, you can only you only hear Fairy Tale of New York 1 month a year.
I don't know. I don't know if YouTube's picking up on this word being said during the broadcast, and they'd be like, "Oh, he'd probably like this." The gay streaming service. By the way, the commercial was just dudes making out and holding each other, which I guess if that's what you're advertising, that's probably what you would want to show. But I don't know. Like I said, we can cut this segment if need be because it's right at the end of the show.
Okay. Well, in that case, Chris, thank you very much. Jim, thank you very much. I think we did all right.
All right.
Okay. Well, in that case, here we go. I'm Steve Rees for Chris Morgani.
Oh, go Eagles.
Jim Corhan, Oski Wibi.
Oskiwawa.
Or you want to do Fly Eagles Fly?
No,
Would you rather do that?
I do not.
We can do that.
I do not
you want to spell the name of the team?
I do not want to do either of those things.
People in certain areas are so proud that they know how to spell that one word.
Yeah, man. I just, are you going to be watching that game tomorrow? Of course
Possibly.
you are, right? I'm going to be in a public place, and yeah, I know it's going to get annoying after a while. Unless they're losing really badly, and then everyone is just going to be really quiet. But it's most likely going to be very annoying.
Well, I hope it works out the way you wanted to, and in that case, I think we did it. Good night.